Hello, Sanahort. Very well, and you? It's been a productive day overall, but I can stay long since 1 a.m. No, you should you should go back to sleep. You should try to get some sleep. 1 a.m. it's a while. Hi, Mariana. Good evening. Oh, I'm really well. How are you? I was trying to light up the Palo Santo. Palo Santo is this. And it was really difficult to light it up actually, like to light it on fire. It was difficult. I mean, it's the first time that it's a new one, but it took a while. I almost burned myself. So I don't know. Maybe the energy is a bit heavy on first days. Probably people are really tired. Hi. Oh, gracias, igualmente. I would like to this as well. Okay. Actually, this week live, una vez quemé la sábana quemando salvia. Yes, I don't know. I think one astrologer once told me that since I do not have much fire placements, like a lot of planets on fire signs, that's why I somehow got, have trouble lighting things on fire, or I probably get burned. Something happens, I set things on fire accidentally. Hi, Samara. So I definitely can see myself. I have a mark in my arms from one time that I think I light a candle and somehow it had like paper around it and it got burned. So it started to create a lot of fire. So my mom and I would freak out. We were freaking out. We didn't know how to put it out. So she came with the idea of throwing water at it. And while she was doing that, somehow a piece of that paper, I think it's cellophane paper, got in my skin and it burned me and it like it got stuck in my skin, so it was really painful and it left a mark. So thank God it didn't fall on my face, but it did in my arm. So fire and I are, are two things that I need to work on. Um, but oh well. Um, I do have a lot of earth placements, a lot of water placements. I have very few placements in fire, and I have zero air placements, for example. But I do have Venus. I do have. I don't. I do not have like air air signs in my planets, especially the ones of personality and the ones that are part of personality traits. But I do have very important placements in houses of air. For example, I have Venus and Mars in the first house, that is the house of Gemini, and I do have the midheaven, that is the highest point of a birth chart. I have it in Libra. So, hey Vanessa. And you realize that I'm here. Oh, I was so sad because actually that reading didn't get much views. So I was like, oh, I do not have many elves in my community, definitely. Because it had very few views. And I was like, maybe I should do more for different members of Super Junior, so people, it can come out on recommendations. Mm. Tengo bien de fuego. Oh, lo que no tengo es tierra. Yes, it happens. Um, it's sad. It's sad, actually. And there are also a lot of the fourth generation that don't get also much views. For example, it happens to me with The Boys. The Boys, I know they are pretty popular in Korea, in their country, but here I don't know if maybe the obvious, because I had come across with a lot of content, TikTok and Instagram, but usually in Spanish. So probably if they see that my readings are in English, probably they are like, oh, I'm not watching that. I don't understand. Um, yes, you know, and I appreciate and I like reading for them because I think we should like, at least that's what I want to do, you know, try to keep variety. You know, I think that sometimes I'm like, but I also have to take into consideration what the public wants, you know, like, because I have a decent amount of numbers. I know that it's not much, but if I have 1,000 followers, I definitely need to keep providing for them the reason why they subscribe to me, you know. So I have to keep also, you know, giving the popular, probably the more popular groups. I do need to, you know, uh, keep reading for them. But I always try to not do it so often. That's something that probably some people don't understand, that you don't need to spam in the comment section. Like, I know that you're asking me to read for someone, but if I'm not doing it, it's because you have to be patient, because I'm not going to read for that idol or that group, you know, once a week or twice a week. You know, it's at least for me, it's not healthy. And about the Taurus energy, he does have Venus in Taurus. Oh, I love Venus in Taurus. And Mars in Capricorn. Oh, wow. Really? See that I was feeling like I saw these pentacles and I was like, either this guy is a workaholic or what's going on, because, you know, so yes. I love reading for him. I think he's really workaholic, and I definitely could see it. Like it was my first time reading for him, actually. So I don't know exactly like how to describe it, because I was talking about Aries, so I try to also connect with the Aries energy, but somehow I saw these pentacles and I'm like, wow, this guy is so hardworking, and he seems to know himself very well, in the sense that he knows what he's good at, but he never stops practicing. So that for me was like, oh my God, this is really amazing, because like you said, they had been around for a while. He did work a lot and it's very useful. Mm-hmm. Yes, he does have a lot of energy. Sujin, Sujin, did she come back or not? Sorry. Ashley or Ash, I don't know. I will do a tarot reading for Sujin. Sujin, is it the former member of? Hello, Emily, the former member of G Idol. But yes, I will do it in the future, because I've done for G Idol a while ago, and I don't know if you're asking if she's coming back to the group. I think that's not possible. I mean, I don't think you need to pull cards to to see that, because I don't think that's possible. Um, didn't I did a reading about her? I did. I did. I did a reading about her in the Pisces season. Didn't I? Yes, because I remember her energy was all focused on herself. So I don't think that her and it's not about them liking or not each other or being friends or not. I don't think you can leave a group and then come back. It would be like, like it's not that easy. I don't know if actually there had been precedent of people actually doing it. But hello, Vita. Hi, Emily. I'm from Argentina. I was rewatching an old live. Yes, yes. Oh, you're Brazil. Oh, we're really close. We are almost like neighbors. Yes, yes, Amara. And I think that people shouldn't be like thinking like associated. Yes. I don't think we should associate her that much, because she's trying to find her independency, after all this that went through, so we should be respectful to the artist, and that in her intentions, she has the desire to work. And because I think that I understand that probably for the fans it's very nostalgic to see a member go, but you also should be rooting for them. It doesn't matter what they decide to do next, So I think that probably you should focus on the possibilities, not so much on, oh, she was here and now she's gone, or she had this and now she's gone, or the girls had this, but now that she's not here, they don't have this. It's like, let's not keep going back to the past. Let's wish them well. They are doing their best with what they have available for themselves. They are very hardworking girls, so I think we should be respectful to their decisions, because I think there's a lot of things we don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know, a lot of assumptions of people that, like I always say, like Monster X Minhyuk says, like, stop assuming things, the little things, don't do that, because it's not good to speculate. Sometimes the yes, they have to let her go, because actually she is slowly recovering herself. She is like in her power, you know. She's like, okay, what do I do with myself? Yes, yes. Yes. It's like we love Wonho. We love him, and we love Monster X as well. But you know, they are in different paths. This doesn't mean that they are not friends. It's just that professionally they are different brands. You know, they are not a brand altogether. They are a different brand. You have like two flavors, two different flavors. You have Monster X and you have Wonho or Wono. I don't know how to pronounce this, Monho or Wono. So if you are a fan of the, you know, the how many were they? Like seven were they? Seven members were they initially with Wonho? Well, the original group, and then now you have one that is here. Yes, yes, they're very mature. Yes, they're mature. But you know what I think that it's because probably they do have a lot of communication with the members, or probably the members are very open about Wonho, or somehow through pictures and different messages, they were able to give the fans a sort of peace in the sense of giving small hints of like, okay, we are not in a group together, but we are still close. So I think that at the end of the day, I think that this is the confirmation that the fan wants, you know, that, oh, are they still friends? Are they still together? Do they see each other? You know, there's a lot of, but the reality is also that you cannot assume that people are best friends just because they are in the same group. You know, like, because then, you know, a few years from now, you know, suddenly they can do like a documentary about their lives, and they're going to tell you, oh, actually I didn't like that member, we were just doing it for the cameras, and then you will be disappointed because you will be like, oh my God, all these years I thought they were friends, and actually, you know, it's sad, but you do need to, you know, you do need to take both sides of, you don't take it too far. You know, don't put a label on their chemistry or on their, how can I say this, or on their dynamic, because they do have to function, they do have to be in sync in order to create great content. So probably what you are seeing is synchronization, or you are seeing like good teamwork, or you are seeing someone being polite to the other, you know, and sometimes I think that people take it too far, you know, like they are like, oh, my bias is such a nice person because he has a dog and a cat. And I'm like, yes, I mean, he posts pictures of his pets, but you know, his family is taking care of those pets because, you know, the idol is working. So sometimes, you know, their pets become even more famous than the idol himself or herself, and I'm like, oh my God. But sorry that the lights are a bit like darker because I actually have a heater next to me, so that's why I didn't turn on the other light because it would be too bright. Here in Argentina, it's starting to get colder because we are on autumn already. So, yes. Probably if you are on the opposite side of the planet Earth for me, you're going to enjoy spring properly, as you should. You're going to get very nice days, very beautiful days. Is there something you want to talk about, guys? Because this life is very out of the blue. Like I'm trying to keep, to keep a sort of like a structure in this, doing it Thursdays and Sundays, but I still haven't decided what's the subject of the first days. So yes, it can happen. Yes, I think that we are tired. I think that this is what I was telling the first people that joined, that I was having trouble like lighting up my Palo Santo stick, um, because the energy, I felt it like very dense. Hi, hello. So it seems like, that we are all energetically still very like um, very tired, very exhausted, like ready for this week to be over. Like, like we have barely, we have low battery. It seems like we are on low battery. Are you watching any K dramas, guys? Do you watch K dramas? Oh, the business proposal. Yes, I think I watched of that one. I think I watched one or two episodes. I think I did. I did watch. Hola, Marcela. I don't like it romance, especially romance one. Oh, my beloved summer. Vita, I do like thrillers in K dramas. I do love thrillers in K drama. Um, my favorite one that I remember is Stranger. Itaewon Class. Yes, Itaewon Class. I liked Itaewon Class. At first, when I think that it was, something in the rain. Yes, Hazel. Did you know that those two were dating back then when they were shooting Something in the Rain? I don't remember the name of the actress that actually she got married today. Oh, Yumi Cells. I love Yumi Cell. Um, I do love Japanese also. It's just that with Japanese, um, I do love K2 or Healer. Oh, I watch. Um, you know, with Japanese, it's just that it's so sad sometimes. There's something about Japanese productions that that there's going to be a sad ending. Something is going to happen and you're going to get um, heartbroken. There's something in the air that tells you that something is going to happen. And but I do love Japanese. The other day I was watching. I was going through Viki, the application Viki, and bye Sana Heard. Good night. Um, it's just that sometimes K dramas are a bit uh, cheesy. Like, oh, they are like, I do have a problem with that. Like the typical the typical plot of the girl that needs to have like a handsome male lead to save her from having an awful family, or having been like been suffering. It's like once she meets that handsome guy, it's like her troubles are over, and I think yes. And I think, they remind me they remind me of telenovelas. When I was younger, my mom would love telenovelas, soap operas. And especially the Mexican ones. The Venezuelan ones, the so they had this element of dramatism, so the poor girl that meets the rich guy that doesn't like her, but then she gets rich herself. She is the heir, the secret heir to, I don't know where she got the money, but suddenly she becomes beautiful. She becomes, like a black swan. And I'm like, oh, I understand what K dramas are trying to do, like, with this sort of makeover, like, oh, you're going to feel better about yourself once you get like a nose job or something. So, oh yes, Gata Salvaje, yes, that one, my mom, yes, my mom used to watch that one. um I feel like Korean dramas, like K-pop, is running out of original. Yes, the subjects that they use, yes, it's very Korean, but especially with the how they accentuate the importance of being beautiful, or being considered beautiful, being skinny. Like the tip. It's not just being the ugly duckling. It's about you being the fat kid on when you were in school, and suddenly you become this beautiful person because you lost weight. So there's something like that. There's something like that. Hollywood movies are a lot of things, but they don't fall good. So, estaba súper enganchada y ahora no me acuerdo mucho de la trama. Yes, my mom used to watch one that is called Pasión de Gavilanes too. So, you know, um, and when I was younger, of course, it was very. In Argentina, we also had like the Argentinian version of the Mexican ones. So it was all, about this lost heir, the lost daughter, the plain homeless girl that meets the millionaire, and the millionaire falls in love with her. Here in Brazil, we grew up watching, yes. We grew up watching Mexican telenovelas and La Usurpadora. Oh, yes. La Usurpadora was great. That's another like soundtrack that we cannot get out of our heads. It was like episodes. And I noticed that nowadays on cable, because I don't watch cable, but my dad does. Um, yes, yes, me too. I don't watch anything Hollywood does, so that's why I go to K dramas. It's like I know that K dramas are not the best, but compared to what Hollywood does, oh my god! Like I'm tired. Like how many superhero, super people are you going to have like movies about that and flying cars everywhere, and like, this very these comedians also having their movies. No, 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 no. I don't have the patience, probably because, I'm a millennial. I have watched a lot of movies in my lifetime. So there are gems in will you get any question? I don't like American dramas. It's giving trashy TV. Oh, yes. Yes. There's one thing about K dramas that I think that if you pass the, you know, the that period of the probably the first or the second episode where they tell you this sad story, that usually there's a lot of children crying and children being left by their parents and being orphans or being treated horribly. And I don't like it when they do that, but somehow they want to make you feel something, so they do that. So once you pass the one or two episodes that somehow explains or shows you the graphic abuse of especially the protagonist, so you can like connect with the protagonist and feel sorry for the protagonist. There's one thing that I didn't like about True Beauty. True Beauty, I think it was one episode where she went to a store and there were two guys that ran into her, and they started like calling her names. Uh, that scene, it ruined the whole mood for me. Actually, I stopped watching it and then I resumed it eventually. But I was really upset at that scene because I was why like why would you put a scene like that? Like, yes, she didn't have makeup on. Yes, I know that she is in her non-magical makeup cover-up, that she had this double life, in True Beauty. But I was like, why would you put these two adults that I think that they were drunk or something like that, and they would start like calling her names, and I think one of them pushed her to the ground and treated her all horribly. And I was like, what's the point of you putting this scene? I mean, is this how people like behave when you are not wearing makeup, or when you have like a face condition or something like that? I, as a female, I felt very, I don't know, I felt really bad. I was like, what am I watching? Didn't enjoy True Beauty either. It could have been good, but some of the writing just, yes, yes. They were so discriminatory, that when the romantic part came, you are still shocked because of the last scene that you watched. You're like, oh my God, what am I watching? Like, and they move on really fast, but you are like, oh my God, like this is not correct. This is not, no. I don't know, guys. I felt really bad actually. And I know, and I saw that a lot of people were commenting that they loved the show, they loved the series, they loved everything, and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know. It was hard for me to move on from those kinds of scenes. No, it was okay. I think it was okay, but there was one scene in particular, because that she had to like do a whole makeup session to to cover her face, but basically because she had like some things on her face that would make her quote unquote ugly. So she built a whole new image with makeup. So I think that it was one day that she had to meet with Cheon Woo character, the male character, and he called her and he was like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm waiting for you," and she didn't have time to put her makeup on because it was nighttime. So she had to run to the place where he was to give him, I think it was to give him a comic book or something like that. And she came across these two adults, these two guys, that one of them pushed her, I think. And then when they saw her face, they started calling her names and they started like treating her really, really like really bad and being very aggressive with her. Um, and I was really shocked with the scene, so I stopped watching in that after that episode. And then then they move on, like they always do. But for me, I think that it wasn't necessary to show something like that. I think that it ruined the moment for me. Yes. Mm. The one that I did like, guys, I don't know if but this is just that it's very creepy, like my taste. But have you watched Shadow Beauty? I think it's called Shadow Beauty. Have you watched it? It's very similar. It's not similar to True Beauty, but it's also based on a webtoon, and it was really creepy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Shadow Beauty. But it's very dark. It's also about teenagers. It's also about people that, yes, if you like this sort of like, like, it's not creepy. It's not that scary. It's just that, the word of the show, the name of the show literally tells you everything, because it's Shadow Beauty, the shadow of beauty, the shadow of people, the shadow self, our dark side, our darkest fears, our darkest, our not so well behaved part, So I think that it was very complex for a way of approaching how this affects people that are teenagers and that they are on the internet, and it also shows you the dark side of what is we consider beauty, or what is it that you see. you know it's very interesting because it somehow plays with your emotions, so somehow you, at the same time, you feel empathy for the female lead, but at the same time you're like, why did you get yourself into this? Especially because I think that what is interesting is that, just like, um, True Beauty is about you having two different personas. It's like this girl that she's like this influencer, where actually she is an influencer. Then she got a lot of followers and stuff, but actually is not herself. It's herself with a lot of Photoshop. So, there's the dangers, and in reality, she is facing a lot of problems at school. It's not only that she is not popular, is that she is um, she's socially awkward, because um, she has self-esteem issues, like we all do. I think that we all do at some point in our teenage years, like we want to be like the famous person. So we think that if we dress, or if we decorate ourselves in a certain way to look like a certain person, it magically means that we are going to acquire their personalities. And no, it's not like that. You do have to work on yourself too, not just a makeover, a physical makeover. You also need to work on yourself. Hi, Lillian. You also have to work on yourself. It's not just wearing what's trendy and being, and wearing like cool stuff. It's not about that. It's also about having personality. Actually, the most popular people in a school is always the people that they know how to get attention, or they just know how to be themselves. They are not so pressured about how the others are going to perceive me. Yes, yes, I saw that. Yes, I'm really happy for that, for them. Actually, I saw the picture and I was so happy. Like, I really like her and him also. Um, she's a fellow Capricorn, so I'm really happy for her that she found her person, because for us Capricorn to find our person is not easy, especially since we focus a lot on career and professional side of our lives. Um, yes, they seem so happy, like genuinely happy. When I saw her like in that dress, smiling, no, not K-drama smiling, really smiling, really like smiling, happy, happy, happy. Yes. And he's a Libra, but he has a moon in Capricorn. So definitely they do have a lot of things in common. They do have a lot of things in common. So I'm happy that they found each other, because also to conquer a moon in Capricorn is not easy. So I'm glad that she did. If Harry and Hyunjae would marry too, they are. Who is Harry and Yoo Jun Jol? Yes, it makes sense. Yes, it makes sense. It makes sense. And that's why when someone mentioned something in the rain, I was like, but did you know that she was dating the guy? How is it his name? Jane? Jane is his name. He's really popular because he's on. I mean, I loved him on Something in the Rain, but now everyone talks about him because he's in a Snowdrop, or he was in a Snowdrop. But I known about his work for a very long time, and I loved his chemistry with her. And I didn't know that they were dating. And then I read something. I was like, oh. Here it was in reply. Oh, girls die. Oh, my favorite, I think it was, yes, she was like the one with the short hair, that she had her hair here. I think it was that, because I watched two. Yes, she was the middle child. Oh, I love that scene. I love that scene when they, oh, when they forgot her birthday. Oh my God, I got so emotional. Now I think yesterday I was watching a Japanese series on Viki that I think that is called A Man Who Defies the BL World. Oh. I think it's called A Man Who Defies the BL World. It was hilarious, guys. It was hilarious. It has 2 seasons, but I think that each season has 5 episodes. You should watch it if you have Viki. I swear the way I laughed at that. I don't read BL boys love stories, but the way it's made in a sarcastic way. Hi, Natasha. I was laughing so hard because he was trying his best because he was really aware that he was in a BL scenario or in a BL story, so he was trying really hard to not become the main lead. So he had all this. It was amazing. I laughed so much. I was like, how come this is so funny? How come this is so funny? Oh, and when he talks about the rules of being in a BL world, that there are certain scenes or certain like things that you have to take into consideration, and especially the fact that BL are written by females. So definitely you do have to have a certain sensitivity to not get caught in a. Yes, Natasha. Yes, I thought I was the only one that was laughing so hard. I was like, "Oh my God, this is hilarious! This is hilarious! This is amazing! This is amazing!" And yes, it is. I believe it is, Vanessa. And there's one because I am a fan of. I think his name is Kento Nawakasi. No, I'm saying it wrong. Kento is the actor of Alice in Borderland. Kento Yamakasi, yes. And he was also in this movie that is called Love is Hard for an Otaku. Wasn't it? Love is Hard for an Otaku. That is also based on a manga. Yes, he's amazing. He's amazing. And I was laughing so much in Love is Hard for an Otaku. I mean, he definitely has the face, he has and the girl was amazing as well. The girl was really great, really great. Oh, I have to watch it. Todome no Kiss. I think I watched, um, it wasn't a teaser. It was like a fan-made edit, I believe, of very important things of the. But I have to watch. I have to watch To Domino Kiss. Um, I love him. And if you are a fan of Stray Kids Lino, you would probably should follow him because he does look very much like Lino. I don't know if I'm the only one that sees that, but I I noticed that he's very much like physically, especially his face. He reminds me of Lino, of Stray Kids Lino. I swear when yes, yes. Reem, there's this movie also where he plays like he is this sort of superhero that he has. I think he has like magenta kind of color in his hair, and he has these two antennas like this. Um, and if you Google his that picture of him with that hairstyle and that color, um, and you match it with now Lino is wearing purple. Yes, yes, he is. Um, he he reminds me. He's very much like his eyes, especially when he acts, when he's all serious. He is Lino. He is indeed Lino. He is indeed Lino. Mm-hmm. Saiki K. I'm in love with him. I'm in love with him. He is amazing. Well, he is a Virgo, so it does make sense that I'm attracted to him. Did you see? Did you see, Marcel? I love it. You know, um, me and my army friend, she is a multi. One of them is a multi fan as well. So we are both Lino biases. Um, and I was telling her about Kento. I was like, "Oh, you have to watch this guy because this guy looks like Lino." I share a picture with her, and I think she didn't get it back then, or she was thinking about something else. She didn't notice. And one day, I was like, because we were arguing because I was like referring to Kento as the guy of the movie. Um, what was this movie that JK, BTS JK made the soundtrack? Um, Your Eyes Tell. Yes, Your Eyes Tell. In the movie Your Eyes Tell, I don't know how or why, but I thought that Kento was that actor, the actor of Your Eyes Tell. And she was like, no, that's not the same guy. And I was like, yes, the guy's from Alice, the guy of Alice, um, Alice of Wonderland. And she was like, no, Banner is not the same guy. And then I was like, no, but yes, I Googled him and I was like, oh, no, he's I'm sorry, my bad, my bad. I'm sorry. It's not, I know, it's not the same guy of Your Eyes Tell, the movie. But I don't know why I confused them. Maybe because probably they both are Virgo. They both have their birthdays on September. So maybe I went back and forth with the profile and I thought that they were the same person. So, but then I was like, oh, but I don't know, you should watch Kento's anyway because he does look like Lino. And she was like, Google him, and she was like, oh, he does look like Lino. And I was like, I've been telling you all along that he looks like Lino, and you didn't pay attention. So I was like really frustrated. I wanted to shake her, through the phone, but then we were laughing about that. I was like, see, I told you. When I see something, I cannot unsee it. And if I did share it with her, it's because we are both, biased. So, you know, I do love that actor. They butchered. Oh, yeah. Do you watch a lot of manga, guys? Or, I mean, do you read or do you watch a lot of mangas? Um, because I actually didn't read the manga, but I watched the anime version, and it's a thriller called Monster. Do you know it? I love it. I love it. I actually came across that very accidentally on YouTube. I found a few years ago, I think it was 5 years ago. I came across like a playlist of very brief fractures of the episodes, but they were all the episodes. I think it has like 23 episodes, but this one was a playlist of 20 minutes each, probably. So I don't know how it was, but it started very nice. I mean, I knew it was like an animation, so I was like, oh, what is this about? Then it suddenly began to get creepier and creepier and scary and scarier, and I was like, oh my god, this is not a regular anime. This is something deep in here. Like really deep. I couldn't. I continued watching until the end. I continue watching until the end. But I do love thrillers. I do love thrillers, horror, uh, like suspense, mystery. That's why probably the romance K drama. I do like. This is something that we probably, yes, it shocked me at first. I was like, what am I watching? I was like, what am I watching here? And I think that that's great about anime, that if you think you're watching a cartoon, you definitely should pay more attention. Mm. And the same thing happens with Perfect Blue. Have you watched Perfect Blue? I'm sure the people that are fans of anime probably know about Perfect Blue. But if you are a K-pop fan and you want to understand a bit the psychology behind the entertainer or the artist, you should watch Perfect Blue. You should watch Perfect Blue. Hmm. Perfect Blue it definitely opens your eyes to a lot of things that, I think that the the writer, or I don't know who produced the movie Black Swan, um, was inspired by Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is actually is not is not updated. I mean, is I think it's of the 90s. Mm. Hmm. And it shows you it shows you a lot of things about being famous that I always think that it must be very scary to be famous. Like yes, yes, it's true. Mm. They don't have original ideas. They just take it out of other cultures. But that's why, it's not a coincidence that, oh, Paprika, yes, yes, Inception as well. Mm. Yes, not the song, the movie, yes. Yes, let's clarify that, yes, you're right. Um, but I don't know why, but I always end up like watching those kinds of content, because I do like to see what's beyond the the Lion King is an original. I do like to know what's behind the character. I think that that's why my readings always go deeper, because like it's not about it's not that I want to know more or I want to invade their energy. Is more than I think that if I use the tarot, the tarot is not just a pretty deck, or it's not just like a colorful deck or with pretty images. It has a lot of deep meanings. So you do need to be a good interpreter of what the cards have to say, because if you are not reading them, if you're not seeing the message, it's because there's something in you, like there's like a blockage, there's something in you. That's why I think that I noticed that there are people that probably, I don't know, want to read tarot so they can read for their idols. And actually, I don't think that's healthy, because actually you are getting too close to an energy that somehow because of course that what they show you. It's not that you know them, but I think that if you probably get like something that is not that pleasant, or of in the cards want to tell you, or an answer that doesn't suit what you are expecting to see, you probably are going to be conditioned, by how you feel about that person. That's why I try to avoid reading for family members, for colleagues, or for friends, because sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe I know too much about this subject, so I cannot be objective. Of course that I can be with training, with a lot of training, you can do it. But I always, I'm always very grateful where actually my friends or my family members, they are like, oh, do you know someone that you trust, or that that is good, that can read for me? Because I think that's also a way of being respectful to my energy, because if somehow I'm part of your very close circle, like, how can I help you? Probably the cards want to tell me something, and I don't know how to deliver the message, because I have an emotional bond with the person that I'm reading for. So sometimes it's good to have, one thing is that you are like, okay, I want you to pull a card for me because I need an advice about a random thing, and it's okay. But if you come to me and you're like, oh, I think that your brother is cheating on me, can you read the cards for me? I'm like, that's too close to me, too personal. So that's why I think that people that are into K-pop and wants to read for K-pop idols, I think they should start reading for other kind of people, not related to that. And I noticed that there are a lot of people on the internet that say that they are tarot readers, especially very young females. They say they are tarot readers, but they are actually telling you a story of what they are fantasizing about their idols. I noticed that. I was like, but they get really good views. They do get the views, and people feel like, oh, she's into K-pop, so this is random. But I feel like people don't talk enough about how intense Aries can be, especially their eyes. Yes, they have the most beautiful eyes ever. Aries is for me because yes, they don't want to read the tarot because they want to read the tarot. They want to read it so they can gossip about their idol's life. or they want to be the beholders of the truth. Oh, look what the tarot told me about your favorite bias. No, that's not, no. Um, Aries, um, for me, Aries people have the most beautiful eyes because they are. You definitely see them, especially when they are excited about something. Their whole face looks like a child, like a child that is very bright, is very honest, that they cannot hide. They have beautiful eyes, big eyes, very strong, but at the same time very beautiful. I love Aries, Aries people, especially because of their honesty. Hmm. Their honesty. I think that the times that I felt very like very well seduced by someone, it was someone that had Aries energy, whether it was an Aries or it had Venus in Aries or Moon in Aries, and then we would end up fighting for random things, but I think that for me it was in a sort of like flirt or seduction phase. I think that I felt like only Aries placements or Aries people would be courageous enough to come close to me and tell me what they think about me or what they want from me. The other signs, they would always like act mysterious and being very being very superficial. So we never accomplished anything because I don't like that. Hmm. Activity now why I reconnected with my Aries. I mean, Aries men especially love the chasing. Yes, that's the thing that I did mention in one of my lives. Like, it had happened to me with Venus in Aries males. Like, yes, we would engage in this sort of chase. Like, oh, like the most exciting thing about them is that they let you know that they are chasing you. Like they let you know that you are their target and they're going to get you. So I think that for me that's very attractive, their honesty, and that they are shameless sometimes, but it's very admirable. But then eventually, yes, when they get what they want, they get bored and they move on to someone else. So then, for me, I'm a very proud and possessive person, so I don't like to share my stuff. So if I have to worry about you going after someone else and actually doing the same chase that you did for me with someone else, I feel very offended. So that's why probably I always es- es- state or choose Taurus and Virgo energy because they were like, okay, I'm staying here, and I would get bored eventually, yes, but that's something that Aries is a good adventure, it's a good. There's something about their honesty that is really romantic, but at the same time, if I know your attention or you're not going to be faithful, it's like I'm sorry, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I don't want to be someone's babysitter. Um, do you think Aries like to be chased or prefer to be the one chasing? Um, yes, I think that they actually like chasing. Yes, they like chasing. they also like to, to be the one chasing, and probably if the more you say no, or the more mysterious you are, the more they are after you, the more. Um, actually, and Venus in Aries, it's a very strong placement, because I did meet a guy that I was like, okay, he's a Taurus. Like, he was a Taurus sun with a Pisces moon, so I was like, okay, he mustn't be that complex, you know. And then, um, yes, he would be interested in me. Yes, he would be really, really, like, flirtatious, and he would be really straightforward, and then eventually one day he's like, oh yes, I don't know, out of nowhere he said that he had a girlfriend, and we were working in the same company, and his girlfriend was like working for the same company as us, but she was in other area, like not in the same building, in other town, but from the same company. And I was like, and she was a Pisces. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, I cannot do this with you, because I'm a Capricorn. I would get my reputation stained, for just being associated with you, and he would be like, he would be um, really obsessed with me. He would be like that annoying child that would always go and pick on me, or make jokes, or he would try to get my attention. And I once told him, like, stop it, because I'm not going to give up. Like, you can be, and that's Venus in Aries. He was like, oh, I'm going to get you anyway. And I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And especially when it has to do, I mean, I'm not, I don't consider myself like I'm perfect, but like I mentioned, I don't like to be someone's second option. Especially if I do have the possibility of meeting other people. Like, why would I get myself into that situation, and at a workplace? No, no. And I felt really bad for his girlfriend, because then we would eventually, like, he would eventually calm down a bit with his approaches towards me. He would make sexual jokes every now and then, but I just would ignore him. And he would tell me, very casually, that actually he had always been a cheater. He had always cheated on his girlfriend with different people, and that that actually he never told her anything, that actually it was the women's fault, because they would let his girlfriend know that he was cheating. So you do you see the level of zero responsibility, zero acknowledgement, zero awareness, so yeah, I did a Virgo for a long time, and they are great. I think that we are a great team. At least Capricorn and Virgo, we are a great team. But it does get a bit boring eventually. At least for me, I probably wanted a bit more passion in the relationship. I wanted, um, yeah, it's just, Lilian, actually, Aries females is totally different. And actually, um, if you don't have Venus in Aries, it doesn't apply to you. I was talking about Venus in Aries. And even if you have a Venus in Aries, you can have it, you can like have it in different houses, so it does. But I do love Aries. I would actually like be in a relationship with an Aries because I think that um, I was raised by an Aries. My dad is an Aries, so I do have a lot of respect for his energy. He's always like an action person. But I think that um, there are some aspects, especially if your moon is in Aries or if you have a Venus in Aries or Mars in Aries, where you do love the chase and you probably will not settle down, because you're always looking for something else to entertain you, to light up your fire. Um, so, but I do love Aries. I think that the 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 fact that Aries knows what they want is very flattering. Is very flattering because I have mm, yes, it's just that probably for you, if you have Venus in Aries, and if it's in 11th house, probably has a bit of influence of Aquarius, and at the same time, probably when you have Venus in Aries, you're probably looking for someone that has Aries qualities. This is why when they are Venus in Aries, when they are attracted to someone, they somehow start like fighting or like having a sort of like argument with the person that they like, and the other part also respond in a very fiery way, in a very like combative way, like I noticed I got like that with this Venus in Aries guy. He would get on my nerves, and I would get really aggressive with him, and I would put him in his place, and he would love it. But I'm not usually like that with people that I feel attracted to. But with him, he did provoke that in me, that sort of rage. Like I would be like, I'm angry at you. I'm attracted to you, but I'm also angry at you. Like, because he would always try to get on my nerves in order to provoke me, I guess, to make me feel something. But at the end, it was very draining because you would always have an argument, and I was like, why am I arguing with this person if I'm not going anywhere with this person? This guy is taken. He has a double life. He has a tons of other options, and he has a girlfriend at home at the same time, and I was like, I'm not going to be one more number. I don't like it. Like, I don't like that. Mm. Leos are pretty interesting as well. Hmm. Yes, they lie. Well, I did tell you about this Moon in Libra, rising in Cancer, Venus in Scorpio. I'm such a mess of Hmm. I always wanted to date a Venus in Scorpio. Always, because I always felt like they would understand my intense emotional needs, and also my Venus is in Pisces, so we would make like a good combination in there. But I never have, never. There's something about the Scorpio energy that I think that even though my best friends and my mom had it, I think that it's not meant for me to integrate that in a relationship. I think that it's meant to be in my life, incorporated as friends and family. But I think that when it comes to relationships, maybe I need other other kinds of energy, very different to mine. Um, but you always try to find someone that is compatible, or someone that um, yes, Venus in Scorpio, yes. I actually don't know because I never dated one. So I don't know how they behave when they are in love or when they. I only heard stories from them, but yes, 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 yes. I think it is. Well, it's just like any Scorpio placement, and I think that that's also something that limits me a lot, because um, yes, I think that's why I said, Samara, we always talk about this. Scorpio guys don't like me. They don't like me. They don't like me because they want to somehow, they want me to be less myself. They want me to tone it down a bit, and I cannot. I cannot. I cannot. And that's the good thing I think that about Aries, that Scorpio and Aries, they are both ruled by Mars, but Aries, it's a bit more like, Aries is also dominant. They would be like, oh, well, how come you're like this, and you have to change, and you have to do what I say, and blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, they if they want you, they will stay by your side. But in the case of a Scorpio, it's like they probably don't say anything, but unconsciously they're thinking about ways of manipulating you into being what they want to be. And I think that for me, it's yes, it's ruled by Pluto, but at the same time, it's ruled by Mars as well. They share it with Aries. Mm, yes. And that's one thing that I do have, like it's very more intense even, is that I have the moon conjunction with Pluto in Scorpio. So I do have the both of them like this in my near my midheaven up high. So definitely the first thing you see when you see me on public is a Scorpio energy. Hmm. Yeah. I think that I am a bit different in that sense because I don't, it's not that I want to know what you're doing at all times, because I'm used to like, I used to date where in an era where, cell phones were still new, like, um, mm, like, so as long as you are working and doing something productive, it's like I will let you live. But I think that one thing that does get on my nerves is when people are dishonest. Like in a sense that if you tell me that you're going out somewhere, please let me know that you are there, and that if you are leaving or if you are arriving at someone else, please let me know that you arrived safely so I can sleep not worrying about you. That's one of the things that if you lie to me or if you hide information from me, especially about, I don't care what you're doing. I care if you're safe, if you're alive, if you're breathing. Um, hmm. It's just that I never experienced it actually. That's why I always felt like, I wouldn't say I was the obsessive in the relationship, because I dated a lot of people that has Cancer placements, so definitely they are clingy as well, as much as Scorpio. But I always felt like they didn't understand me, like, because mm, I always felt like I wasn't understood emotionally. Especially because, we Capricorn, we look like we have everything under control. So when you have a moon in Scorpio, you also have all your emotions like very hidden. So I was like, when I'm in a very intimate relationship with someone, and somehow I show you my vulnerable side, or actually how I'm feeling, and if you don't allow me to express it, because you think it's too much, or you think it's too intense, what it does is that I somehow go back to my shell, and I'm not going to show it to you anymore, because you had told me that you had put a label on me about being too intense. So somehow I hide what I feel, so I think that in that sense, that's why I always wanted to to date a Scorpio energy. So I think they would get why I feel the way I feel, and they wouldn't ask me, like, oh, can you not be like that, or can you be less intense, you know? Is having a moon in Libra supposed to be hard emotionally too? No, no. Hmm. Yes, they do. They do sexualize them a lot. Yes, and actually, sexuality for them is a whole. It's a whole experience, because it's more about what people expect them to be more than what they really are. Um, Actually, mm, look, it's just that for me, I always relate, because I remember at first I had a few coworkers that were Libra Moon, and I was like, I didn't understand their ability to be always in good terms with everyone. They would always like forgive people, and they would make up with people right away, or they would put other people's needs before theirs. And I was like, oh, I don't like it. Like, I'm like very stubborn. I have a good memory, so if I go through some kind of very uncomfortable situation with you, it's like I don't let go that easily. I forget. I forgive. I always remember. It's not that I forgive. I always remember what you did to me. So it's here. So when I talk to Libra Moon people, they always like, they can seem like they are hurt by something today, but tomorrow we are going to see them with the brightest smile, like nothing happened. And for me, actually, that was really sad to witness. I was like, how come you cannot tell them how you really feel? Like, why, where is your hurt? Because you told me that you had been hurt by a certain situation. Like, what did you do with that emotion? You hide it, you conceal it, you disguise it with a smile. And I felt really sad, because I was like, while you give them that smile of yours, you're also giving them permission to do it again. So I, um, so it's tough. It's tough to be a moon in Libra, because it's your emotional needs depends on what the others want of you. So you are very aware that you do need to keep peace with people, or probably connections that, yes, they're going to make you go through really hard times, but you're going to try to find a way to find a balance. Like, okay, this hurt me, but I'm going to take a moment, and I'm going to be the good person, or I'm going to be the better person here, because I'm not going to, it's like, yes, I'm hurt, but I'm not going to ruin this. I have to keep, you know. Yes, for them it's hard to, yes, confrontation and fighting is something that is not in their element. They avoid it. They avoid it. And they avoid conversations where they have to put people in their places. They just hate it, you know. And at first I was like, oh, this is so unfair, you know. And then I noticed that I do have something like that, very similar, because I have the midheaven in Libra, that it's like, you know, the highest point of the birth chart, that it's how people perceive you. And especially if you are like on exterior, you know, if you are like, for example, in my career, or in my role, while working, a lot of people would tell me like, oh, you are like the mediator of the group, or you are like the peacekeeper in the group. Oh, they listen to you. And I was like, oh, you know, I always thought that I didn't understand Libra energy, but actually while I'm at work and I have to deal with different people, I somehow embody Libra energy, in the sense that there were a lot of moments where I wanted to say a few things to a few people, but somehow I hold it in, or somehow I try to use the prettiest words to keep harmony, you know. Hmm. Mm. Yes, it's necessary to. It's just that Moon in Libra, they don't want to lose people in their lives. You know, for them the other is important. It's part of their identity. You know, and so when I started to get closer to that energy, I also knew that there's a lot of Libra in all of us. You know, that sometimes it is, you don't have to be a moon in Libra to feel that way. You probably have, you know, a Venus in Libra, or you have a Mercury in Libra, you know, or you have a Mars in Libra. So somehow there's something about Libra that there are moments where, yes, you could go off, or you could like feel like, oh, I want to slap that person right now, but I'm not going to do it, because I am a decent person. Like, I cannot do it. And speaking of Libra, because since Libra energy cannot show their ugly side, sometimes they become passive aggressive because they cannot yes, yes, yeah. um and yes, no fights. She's like separating all your placements, you know, like, no, 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 this doesn't look good. And talking about Libra, you know, have you watched the Grammys, or have you heard what happened with Will Smith? Talking about Libra, let's talk a bit about Libra using Will Smith. Will Smith is a Libra. I don't know the rest of his chart, but I know he's a moon in Scorpio. I know it. And I know that here we talk about K-pop, but I, yes, yes. Let's talk about the Will Smith Libra. That it mustn't be easy to be a Libra sun with the moon in Scorpio. Because actually the moon in Scorpio is ready. It's ready. It's waiting. It's waiting. It's waiting. But he won't let it out until we will have to see where his Mars is also in his rising, but we don't know it. So let's take this. You know that Will Smith is a guy that he had done his work. He has done, you know, he had always been the saver, the nice guy, you know, the in the movies. I mean, you know, he had always played this very likable funny roles, these roles of this hero, this nice guy, this guy that, he overcomes everything, and somehow he had this image of like, oh, he must be really nice, like his roles in the movie, so, and of course that he had, always had these uh, um, comments, or all his speech, by Samara, his speech and everything, that was always very polite, always considering the others, let's help others, let's do something for others, like always like, oh yes, yes, yeah, I'm funny, ha 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 ha. But what happened at the Oscars? And I agree that violence is not the answer. But I agree with people, yes, I agree with people that think that Will Smith's reaction wasn't just because of that joke. Because I'm trying to see, his moon in Scorpio. I'm like, there's something deeper in there. Something triggered that reaction, and I think I know what it is. Because when that's his Leo. That's his Libra, laughing. And there's something Moon in Libra sometimes they do when they want to punch someone in the face. They laugh. They smile. They laugh. And you're like, why are you laughing? That person is making fun of you. Oh, no. No, don't laugh. But that's the Libra, like let's keep it balanced. Let's keep it, until then everything was fine. Oh, I need to watch that, Vanessa, then. But I think, what is the thing that Moon in Scorpio fears the most? Besides abandonment. Think about the Scorpio energy. What is the thing that Scorpio fears the most? Yes, Mariana. Betrayal. Betrayal. And I think that that's what happened a few months, I think it was a month or year ago, where he had this conversation on camera with his wife, and her telling him that she had been with someone else, and that someone had made her feel things or whatever. I think it was called The Red Table, wasn't it? I remember watching it. I couldn't watch it. I saw it just once. I watched it just Red Table. Yes, I watched it just once, and I saw his face, and I saw the Libra denial in there. I saw the Libra denial in that. That's a combination of Libra and Scorpio. The Scorpio inside, the Moon in Scorpio is like, you just you just killed me right there. What did you say? You said that you betrayed me. I can tell you that if you said that to my face right there, I probably wouldn't have punched you in the face. Nothing. I wouldn't have done nothing physically, but I would I would get out. I would like tell you this is over, and I will get out and will never speak to you again. I felt when I saw her talking about that, so, and also in her language, in her language of, oh yes, because it just happened, and yes, let's not go that deep and be like, oh yes, but maybe he had cheated on her too. No, I'm talking about the moon in Scorpio here. um and there's something that I didn't like about her attitude, and he was like, uh-huh, mm-hmm. He was totally numb during that that's why I couldn't watch it, because I was like, come on, wake up, wake up. She's telling you and it's recorded, and you're like, you're accepting everything, like what's and I felt like the rage inside of me, so I cannot imagine. Yes, yes, I cannot imagine. Yes, the man looked dead. Yes, like, and I think that that moment, and I don't know, like, um like a lot of things could have happened also, but in my case, I wouldn't have been able to continue that relationship or been associated with this person ever again because of the shame, guys, the shame, and the betrayal is like a stab. So the fact that yes, she was like, uh-huh. He was like, uh-huh. He was gone. He was like, and I was like, no. It's like, I understand because I'm a very loyal person. Like, I understand that, but I'm also ruled by Pluto, so I know that if something has to end, it better end. I think she's a Virgo. But, you know, it's like, for me, if the trust is broken, if the trust is broken, I don't know you. And you don't know me either. That's why I don't stay friends with my exes. Never, never, never. Because I understand mistakes. I can agree to a lot of things. I can understand a lot of things. But betrayal and in front of everyone and in camera, like, do you know what that means? But he's a Libra. So he just battled everything inside, and he went on with his life with this image of, oh, I'm the nice guy, I'm the funny guy, I'm the cool guy, I'm amazing, everyone loves me, I love everyone. Who loves you? If they expose you like that on camera, who loves you? Is that the kind of love that you think you deserve? And I think that, yes, a lot of people also like speculated that maybe there had been something going on between Chris and her, and this is why he somehow like, but I don't know. I don't know, guys. I just feel like And this is what happened. This is, yes. This is what happens when you try to keep something that no longer works. You destroy each other. You destroy each other. And now he's no longer the nice guy. It doesn't matter how much he laughs. It doesn't matter how much he parties or how much he tries to be diplomat and write apologies. It's done. So that's and that happened, and he's not the first Libra guy that I watched having this kind of aggressive moments and people being shocked, like, I cannot believe he was so nice, he was so polite, what happened to him? Aries happened. That's something that Libra people have to learn from their opposite sign, from Aries. Because sometimes Libra people hold so much anger inside that they are even more aggressive than Aries. So that's why I always advise people that have Libra placements. Don't forget about yourself. Stop trying to make everyone happy. Stop forgetting about you, because the day you lose your patience, you lose your temper, you lose your manners, that day you are going to be the bad guy. And you could probably do a lot of damage in a moment of rage. Because Libra does get angry. Actually, I have met a lot of Libra people being very aggressive. They just smile after their, especially comments. They tend to be very passive aggressive. They say a few things and then they act like they don't mean it. And I'm like, oh, that's your anger showing. Because they have the right to be angry at something. But when you accustom people, or people get used to see you as this sunshine, as this very pleasant person, they don't like to see your dark side. They don't want to see it. It's not aesthetic to be angry. Just keep smiling and be pretty. Keep smiling, keep entertaining everyone. Then one day you get upset and you are turned into this monster that no one knew who you were, why you were like this. Oh my God, she used to, like, really, guys, like, um, hmm. And then you end up feeling so bad about yourself. Hmm. So Libra has a lot to learn about Aries, because Aries is very used to the idea that nobody likes them. They are used to the idea that they are not that popular, and that they would probably don't have many friends, or that's why they are so independent, because they know that they are not very liked, and they are fine with that. They are happy that they can focus on themselves. And they know they are annoying, they know that they can be rude because they are rude, but they are, oh, well, this is who I am. So, yes, she said Sagittarius is really funny, because Sagittarius also tends to avoid, um, not avoid confrontations, because actually they are very blunt, but they sometimes they laugh it off. They are so funny, or you are so nice that, um, hola. As a reminder, I think I remember. Reminded me that Heung Hyuk is best friends for more than 20 years with the third member Dong Hai, who's Libra with the moon Scorpio. Yes, take off the moon in Scorpio while you can. Actually, a lot of Libra have Scorpio placements because Libra and Scorpio are very like close. So it's normal, or Sagittarius as well. If you're a Sagittarius, you do have Scorpio placements because you are very close. And well, me, I'm a Capricorn, so we are close to also. I have a Scorpio placement. But I think that they definitely need to learn from each other. I think that Aries also need to learn a lot from Libra, um, Libra diplomacy. Because sometimes yes, Aries it's it's not very like, especially the males, and they are really nice people. It's just that people don't like them. Yes, I think that they need to learn from each other because the bad the the, the bad thing about Libra placements is that you can have a Will Smith moment that can ruin your whole reputation or everything that you had worked really hard for. So yes, it's amazing that you keep the good manners and that you are respectful and that you are nice, but don't forget that when you feel uncomfortable about something, don't put excuses. Sometimes people do show you their true colors, and that somehow you do need to realize that there's ugliness out there and that people are very, very bad people. So be selective, be loyal to yourself. Don't be so loyal to others. Like don't forget about you. This is something that Aries does very well because Aries is all about I. I desire, I want, I do, I am. And Libra is more about we are. You and me. You and me. I am me, I am you, and you are me. Libra needs that feedback. They need the other person. That's why we don't have to judge. So, being going to a Libra person and be like, oh, you gotta be like this. No, because Libra energy also has a purpose and also has a lesson. We need Libra in our lives. We need them. It's just that sometimes we need to stop uh, expecting Libra to always being this entertaining host or hostess, you know. We need that. We need to let them show their more aggressive side. We need to let them. And we shouldn't like pass our boundaries with them. Yes, we do need them. See, Mariana? That's why I think that as a Scorpio person, as a Scorpio moon person, sometimes when people get offended and leave my life and they just are gone, I'm like, thank you, God. I'm like, thank you, God. Let them live. Let them live. At first, it was hard for me to understand why people would leave. And because I am possessive and I'm dominant, I was like, oh no, I have to retain them. And I was like, why? If they don't appreciate me for who I really am, they don't appreciate me for who I really am. They just want to take what they want to take. You know, like like this person, you know, like I always read what Amber says. She always asks the same question, that she wants to know if NCT Taeyong and Somi are in a relationship or if they are dating or whatever. And I'm not going to read on rumors because I respect both artists. I'm not going to pull a card for that subject. And I'm respectful to the fans as well. You gotta be selective, guys. Always, always, always. If people like you, they're going to stay. If they don't, then let them leave. We don't have to entertain them. We don't have to entertain them. Because they don't care about you. They just want to get what they want. And they will leave eventually. You know, so it's not about you. And you know, the funny thing is that actually these people, they find another target really fast. You know, so if you say no to them, they will find someone else that will do it. So it's not about being special or something, no. So that's something that's why I always tell, now that this very unfortunate thing happened at the Oscars. You know, I know that we are talking about K-pop here, but I'm sorry that about the Oscars. But we were talking about Libra, and I found that very fitting. Like always in astrology, it has a lot to teach us, and I like to teach with examples. So I think that that was a very graphic proof that we don't have to be that Will Smith. That we don't have to be that Will Smith. You know, just don't let people like, and you know, it's. I think he must be dealing with a lot of things emotionally, and this triggered it. This triggered it. This was like, but you know that it's related to her. You know that it's related to her. It has to do with her. It has to do with their relationship, with their dynamic. Mm. It's and it's sad, it's sad that someone has to go to that streams. Yes, it triggers something. Something triggered. But that's what I say. When because like I always talk about a moon in Scorpio, we don't forget nor forgive. We don't forget. He didn't forget. But at the same time, he wants to maintain appearances. He wants to maintain. That's something that I told you. That I always tell you this that when I dated my ex-boyfriend, that he was a Virgo, and he had Venus and Mars in Libra. He had a lot of things in Libra. He was almost Libra, not so much Virgo. And he was obsessed with the idea of keep being in the relationship. He was this kind of person that he never was single in his life. He was always like in a relationship, and very long-term ones. But I think that back then I was his longest one. So, but he was the kind of person that he would always be like, okay, we will work this, we will, I don't know. And I was like, I don't feel nothing for you. Like, and I think that probably, I remember I used to talk about this with my friends, and they were like, oh, why are you going to leave a guy that wants to be in a relation with you, and he wants to stay by your side, he wants to marry you, and he wants to be with you? And I was like, that's not enough. That's not enough. And that's something Venus and Mars in Libra do a lot, that is like this sort of like, oh yes, we are a couple, so yes, we are that couple, we must still be that couple. So, and I was like, I'm not happy. Does that count? Is that good enough? The fact that someone wants to stay with you for the rest of their lives, it doesn't mean that you have to stay with them, because that's a sort of abuse at the same time, because it's like this person is holding you hostage in the relationship. Oh, because I love you, you have to stay with me. But no, we are not okay. We are going through a lot of issues, and you are just being blinded and obsessed with this, and this doesn't work anymore for me. So I think that, um, at least in my case, I don't. When someone wants to stay in a relationship, no matter what, I swear I felt like I was suffocating. I couldn't breathe, because he wasn't able to see that the relationship wasn't working anymore. So I think that is even more painful than someone that is like honest enough and is like, okay, let's break up. Let's end this. Let's end this. Sometimes it's good to put an end to things and not just keep going because of routine or because other people expect you to. Other people are like, oh, you're the cutest couple ever. Yes, but you don't know. what's going on in our intimacy. You don't know it. You don't know what's going on behind doors. You don't know it. So, it's complex, guys. It's complex. I think that that's why you need to always like connect with yourself. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? Because that's something that often Libra does. They focus so much on a relationship or on changing someone or on someone's need, so they don't have to focus on themselves. They are in constant denial. They are in constant denial. Back then, I wanted them for my self validation. Yes. Yes, if you respect yourself, the others will respect you. Of course, it will not be easy to approach you, but I think that um, sometimes I'm like, I need to be at peace with myself. You are the only one that knows you. You need to have a conversation with you. Like, what do I want? What can I do to be a better version for me? And I think that this is very important because a few generations and years back then, women didn't have the options to stop and reflect about what they want. So now that we are here and now, in this present, we have the tools, we have the time. So why can't we start doing that, it's like I always think about that. I always think about that. My mom was a Scorpio with the moon in Aries, and all her life she struggled with rage because she couldn't. I don't know if maybe she had Libra placements. I'm sure she did, but she never was able to express her anger properly because she came from a very conservative family of a lot of children. So she got married and she became like my dad's family became her family. So she had, and I remember that I was, if you would ask me about my mom, what I would tell you is that ever since I was young, I noticed that she was this very silent volcano that somehow I would be next to her and she was very silent, she was really reserved. But me as a child, I would always could feel that she was angry, that there was an anger inside of her, like she never showed it. And then, well, eventually when she was diagnosed with cancer, and I think that we often talked about this, how she was never happy, how she was never able to say what she wanted or have the independency that maybe a moon in Aries person would want for herself. But because being married and having children or having a family was was mandatory back then, or it was like the sign of what you had to do as a female, a lot of expectations, and she never really had a moment to reflect about her own needs. So I think that whenever I think about her and all the anger that probably she had to swallow, and she had to hide and she had to somehow, it would eat her alive. So I was like, she gave me life, she gave me opportunities. I'm going to make the best out of my experience. So I think that that's what's important. That whatever you do for others, you do it because one, you want to, and two, it's on your possibilities. And if you cannot do it, don't go overboard. Don't go all full, like, oh, I'm going to go and do this favor, even if I know I don't have the strength, I don't have the time. Like, learn to say no, thank you, I cannot do it. I'm sorry, I cannot be there for you. I'm sorry, like, I have a lot of things to do. You know so I think that being a female is tough. Being a female, being considered successful, or being considered like you had accomplished a lot of things, is tough. But we are in a period in our lives where we have a lot of tools, and we have a lot of, like, platforms, and we have different ways of communication, so we can connect with each other, so we are not that lonely. Back then, if you didn't know a person face to face, or if you weren't like acquaintances, or if you didn't work with that person, you didn't have chance to meet them. And look at us now, we are talking for 2 hours. We had been talking. we have we are very blessed. We are really lucky. We really are. Okay, guys, we are 2 hours, 30 minutes. Let's pull some cards. Thank you, Vanessa. Let's pull some cards if you have a question. And today I brought an oracle. This is the Angels and Ancestors Oracle. It's not a tarot. So we can have a keyword. Yes. And we do have K-pop. You know that's amazing, guys. I think that's sometimes I think, like, one thing that probably is not talked about that much is it's not only about, oh, how K-pop unites us. It's more about how it also expands our ability to understand a different language and a different culture. So we are growing as individuals as well, as K-pop listeners or K-pop fans, or we are evolving as individuals. We are evolving. Not everyone has the kind of, like, respect and empathy for a culture that is so different to us, so different. And at the same time, yes, we can talk about, at least from my perspective, that I'm from Latin America. I can very happily say that now I know the difference between Korean, Japanese, and Chinese people. That, and also about Taiwanese, and also people from other parts of the world. Like, back then, for me, everyone were either you were Chinese or you were Japanese, but I didn't know about Korea, to be honest. In my school, if they taught me about their history, I do not remember. The only thing that I do remember is Japan history, and China a bit, yes, but I was ignorant in that sense. Like I didn't know much about Korea. I didn't even know. I thought that Korea was a whole country, like and then I learned that there's South Korea, there's North Korea, and I was like, oh wow, like, wow, like so I think that that's why it's great to be part of the K-pop community, because it doesn't matter what other people think about how what we are doing or what we are supporting is right or not. I think that it had made us more acceptant and more understanding to other culture that is very far away from us, because yes, America culture, yes, we had been fed with that culture for years and years and years. So America, we know it, but Asia, wow, like I feel proud of myself, like, oh, like I'm like, the other day I went on a live of a very famous Korean couple that they do own a clothing store here in Argentina, and actually they are Argentinian. Their parents are Korean, but they speak our language, and they have the same accent as me. They just look Korean, that's all, but they are Argentinian like me. And a lot of people were like, oh, but are you Chinese? Like how TikTok is, that you do have, oh, Leonie, yes, that you do have a lot of like trolls on TikTok chat. It's awful. And I would commend them, like, no, they are not Chinese. They are Korean. Yeah. And I felt so proud of myself, because I was like, probably they don't need me to defend them or to tell everyone, but I was like, I'm glad I'm not that ignorant, because maybe if I didn't know about K drama, maybe I would have been that person, and I would have been that basic, like, oh, are you from Japan? Like, like, I don't know, like maybe I could have been that person, so I'm proud of myself. I'm like, oh, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I think we grown so much. Grown so much. Um, I'm really happy for us. So yes, guys, do you have questions? So we can wrap this very soon. Yes. I think that we don't recognize, like we don't talk about about this often, because we are like, oh yes, it's normal because we like them, so we have to learn their culture. And actually, no, it's all on you. It's your effort. It's your effort. It's your determination. It's your willpower. We're really invested, and I think that it says a lot about our character and our choices, and that we go out of our way or our costumes to search for different meaningful content. Onu solo come back because he's going to have, oh, okay. Onu solo come back. I will have to put Will Smith on my title because we have talked about this. So people will know that it's not just K-pop, It's K-pop and Will Smith. Go figure. Everyone's talking about it, so I had to talk about it. Oh my God. But astrology is really interesting. Astrology is really interesting, honestly. Like, I think that Libra people need our support. They do need it. They do need it. We need to, see the real them, because, I think that when I had the tarot deck, that it was for the zodiac tarot deck. Um, um, the Libra one was represented by a geisha. So that you see the pressure of being a Libra, that you have to be pleasant, that you have to be beautiful, that you have to be always entertaining others, and you have to be welcoming, and you have to have good manners. And sometimes Libra also struggle with their own identity, with recognizing their own desires. Carta Chamin TVSQ. Jukjom. I always call him Jujon, and I don't want to sound Jukjom. I know he's got 7. Jukjom. Hello. Hola, Laura. Hola. Una pregunta con todo mi amor. Me gustaría saber la diferencia entre Venus en Escorpio y Venus en conjunción Pluto. Para mí no hay diferencia. Es básicamente una energía muy similar. For me, there's no difference between Venus in Scorpio and Venus conjunction Pluto, because actually it touches Pluto. That Pluto is like this strong planet that whatever it touches, it somehow like. It is the same if Venus is in the 8th house, that is the house of a Scorpio, is the same as being a Venus in a Scorpio. So for me, basically, it's the same. For me, it basically is the same. Venus conjunction Pluto, yes. And the same if you have like Moon conjunction Pluto. It doesn't matter in what sign you have it. It means that it's like a Moon Scorpio. Because I had met people that had, for example, Moon in Sagittarius, but they had Moon conjunct Pluto. So it's like yes, you are a Moon in Sagittarius, but somehow you are a bit more intense because Pluto is conjunction your Moon. So they are like this. So you cannot have this energy without this. They are together. They are together. They impact on each other. That's why I think that I am a Moon Scorpio, but I am like more intense or probably more comfortable with being Moon Scorpio because I have Moon conjunction Pluto. So in Scorpio, both of them are in Scorpio, but they are conjunct. So if it was in, for example, in Libra, it wouldn't make a difference because it's Moon and it's conjunction. I have a very interesting book that is from a Chilean, from a astrologer of Chile that is called Healing Relationships. He's a very known astrologer from Chile that he does have like a talk in Spanish about Pluto, and it's really interesting how it shows you the influence of Pluto. Pluto is really strong. Well, in my case, I have like in my first house, I have Capricorn. I mean, I am Capricorn Sun, but I have a rising Capricorn at the same time. But I never seen myself as this very inflexible, serious Capricorn. And it's because I have it in the first house that is the house of Aries. So I'm a bit more extrovert. It's like I don't mind talking about myself or showing myself the way I am. And at the same time, I have Jupiter in my first house. So it's as if I am a Sagittarius rising. So yes, I do understand when Rin talked about sometimes having Jupiter in my first house. I remember I had a period in my life where every time I would make a comment, I would I would be so too blunt, too blunt, and I swear I can see on people's faces how they would hate me for it. I swear I had these moments where I felt really embarrassed because I would have my very honestly moments where words would come out of my mouth and I would always like I don't know why, but I would someone would get offended by what I said. So then I had to, I had to, especially at work, I was so like blunt, like I just had this, I had this thought and I would just say it, and then I would be like, oh, maybe this is not right to say. Yes, yes. Yes, there's one thing that I would always be popular without actually not even trying, not even trying. I swear, I swear. Then I learned to work on that, and to work on why would you say those things, like why don't you think before you open your mouth, and also I think that it has to do that, like I mentioned, my dad is an Aries, so my dad would always be very like like he would say things that he would think, and no, yes, it wasn't with bad intention, but it would just come out very abruptly, so it would shock people, like why would you say that? Like like why? Like I don't know, and I would start like working on myself then. But I was really young, I was starting to learn also. I'm an only child, guys, so I like yes, I know I know I always been like very popular. Like I never had like um to think so much about others. I would always think about me. So I think that it had to do a lot with that. That I wouldn't stop a bit to observe or read the room or the atmosphere and being like, oh, maybe this is not the right place to say this, So and that's it's have emotional intelligence at the same time. You being able, to not just say what you want to say or do what you want to do just because you feel like it, more like okay, let's be respectful, let's consider the others, so I guess yes. I don't know, I don't know. And then I felt so ashamed. And sometimes I think about that. I think those about those moments, and I feel so ashamed because I was like, "How come you say that? Like, like don't be like that. Don't be like that." Yes, I think it's Jupiter. Really, I at first I was like, "That's like astrologically I didn't understand, like I was like how come I'm a double Capricorn and I have Scorpio and I have Venus and I have Pisces, I should be really like you know like very reserved, very like my manners and stuff, but I would be like that, but eventually it seems like I would get too relaxed, that I would be like, oh yes, I'm going to say this, and then And I was like, no. And I was like, everything was going so well until you said this thing. And for me, it took me actually a while to understand why it would bother people, because actually, in my perception, I was just being myself, and that's why yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, it does. Yes, but I think that that's why I always, with my friends, I that we know each other. Like, I'm always, please don't ask me in public what I really feel about something, because I would probably offend someone. So please, like, don't get me started. Don't get me started, because I when I get started, especially since because of my moon in Scorpio, I get also really emotional all of a sudden. So if I know, if there's something like an emotional component, like about a situation that somehow made me feel uncomfortable, or I'm not happy about something, and you want me to talk about it, I would be like, oh yes, this is this. And when I start talking, like, no one is safe. No one is safe, because I think I'm really good at, holding information, and then I expel it at the right time. This is why I think this is the Scorpio energy. That you don't hold your daggers, right away. You wait for the moment. You wait for the moment. You wait, but you are like, don't make me talk. Don't make me talk, because I know I can be very, like, I go straight to the core, and I'm like, oh, you did this, and I saw you that you did this. So I always tell people, don't get me to talk, because um, I'm going to chop a few heads, and um, and my Jupiter in the first house needs me to be popular, so I cannot be hated. But sometimes I do have my moments where I'm like, you know, um, no sé si, no, he leído un poco de asteroides, sí, pero no los entiendo por completo. Pero sí sé los míos, sí los sé. Los he buscado y todo, pero no sé. Me parece interesante cuando lo habla gente que lo sabe. Yo honestamente no he ido tan ahí, eh, pero yo he visto mi Lilith, creo que es Lilith y Tyrion. Ellos los he buscado, pero it's just that astrology is so. Oh, there's so much astrology. You never end. You never end. You never end. Hmm. I just found out my moon is in Scorpio. Oh, welcome to the team. Actually, a lot of my clients do have moon in Scorpio. A lot of them. Yes, they always have something in Scorpio. They always have something in Scorpio. Always. Because I think that Scorpio placements need. That's why I say, okay, the tarot is a tool, but the mission is for you to learn more about yourself. Because you do need to make a peace with yourself. Mm. Yes, I think you do, Laura. I think you do. Yes, Pluto. Yes, if we are from the same generation of 83 to 90, 95. Um, yes, we do have to do a lot of healing at the same time. And if you do heal as a moon in Scorpio, we do have a lot of power. we do have a lot of power. We are very powerful people. We are very powerful people. But our first enemy is ourselves. Our first enemy is ourselves. Scorpio is an energy that is always prepares you for greater things. But you need to let go of the past. You need to acknowledge the past, hold it, like talk to it, talk about what happened, let it go. And the word let it go, I hate it. When people tell me to let go of things, I'm like, no. When people tell me you should let go of things, no. Never. But then I learned that yes, yes, that's why I think that the people that say let it go, they never had Scorpio placements in their lives. They don't know it. Yes, yes. We do have a lot of wisdom. We have a lot of things. It's just that if you don't work on yourself, you become your own enemy. Because all that pulsion, all that anger, all those strong emotions, if you don't put it into good use or use them to inspire you to let it out and do something, you get stuck all inside of you, and it ends up hurting you and only you, because the others, they don't see it. They don't see it. They don't see it. I had a Scorpio friend that he would tell me, "Oh, you should let go of things," and I wanted to punch him in the face. I was so angry at him because he said it so lightly, you know. He has Moon in Gemini, so yes, for him it's easier. For him, emotions are not like been there, done that, you know, because he is a Scorpio at the end. So for him, you know, like to, but for me, it's so hard emotionally to let go of things. You know, it's so hard. It's hard for me. But once I liberate myself from that, I am a new person. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, how much transformation. It's just that you are a Cancer sun. And Cancer sun is very similar to Scorpio energy. They don't let go. They don't let go. Especially because they are very nostalgic about the past. So somehow the past always looks like a dream, you know, like, oh, when things used to be better. Oh, back then, you know, we always compare. Oh, back then things were like this, and now we are like this, you know, and sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes it is what it is. Yes. Because you are no longer there. Yes. You are no longer there. And the people that transited that with you are no longer there as well. But sometimes you just have to move on. You just have to move on. You just have to move on. That's the that's I think that yes, we are a really nice group. Yes, we do get why we are here. Um, it's just that it's, you know, life is complicated for all of us. You know, for all of us, it's really complicated, and we just are trying to do our best with everything that we have. You know, we are just like, okay, where can I You know, where can I be emotional and complex and complicated without people like, you know, like judging you or using what they know about you against you, you know. And this is something that sometimes we are afraid to talk about what's going on with us because people, oh yes, the power of the now. Because people sometimes hold it against you. You know, people sometimes collect information or they think they know you. They think they know you and they don't. They don't. Because we are never what we show to others. We are always deeper. We are always deeper. You know, so for me, like I always say, I don't go around calling people friend. Mhm. I don't go around calling people friend just like that. For me, a friend is someone that I have to go through a lot of things with that person and seeing that person stay next to me through it all. Through the darkness, through my moody moments, through my distant moments, through my, you know, I don't know, because I can be annoying as well. You know, so, you know, we're not perfect. Like I always say, we are always, you have to think that we can be the bad guys in someone else's story. So, you know, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to own it. You know, the day you start saying no, the day you start to refuse to people, doing people a favor, or trying to adapt your life to what other wants, that day you are the bad guy. You are the enemy because you don't follow them around. So, you know, I'm always thinking like, okay, if I do this, what do I get in return? What do I get in return? And don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. Okay, guys, I'm going to move on to the questions. Let's start with Onu. Comeback. Solo comeback. Onu. Oracle. Wait for important information. This one has a message because it's an oracle. So probably it's just that he is very intuitive. He needs to wait for a confirmation. I think his comeback is going to do great, but I think that what this card is telling him is that he has the ability to see beyond appearances. So obviously he's waiting to see something. He's waiting for something. He had been waiting for this for quite a while, actually. It's very important. It's a very important information. But I think that he already knows it. He's in a period where he's going to learn a lot of things about himself and about his reality. But he's connecting more with his true self. He's slowly healing. He is healing from something. He's healing probably from a past. Something is happening. Something is happening inside of him. He's slowly like healing. He's also someone that doesn't let go easily. I think he had been hurt in the past. That's why for him to find this information is really important in order to move on, in order to heal. He's a much more complex, yes, he's a much more complex person that he lets. Actually, yes, he is. I don't know him that much, but I think he he needs this information. He needs this information because somehow there's a lot of things of his past that he was like feeling very guilty, and not supported, actually, not supported at all. So for him, finding this out is very important because it's going to clarify a few doubts that he had, or probably he had premonitions or he had intuitions about this information, but he didn't have the proof. So now that he has it, he's finally going to be able to put his mind at ease, and being a bit more like, but he's going to be very present during this comeback. You're going to see him a bit more happy, a bit more present, a bit more like enjoying it, really enjoying it. Because things hasn't been easy for him. Okay, Jukjeom, got 7 Jukjeom. For him, I'm sorry, did SM do something about the Lucas situation? Okay, let's see. Jukjeom got 7. Peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. So he's the rumor saying she'll stop chasing idols. Jukjeom, the peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. Yes, I think that actually there's a lot of growing, in Jukjeom life. But I think that he had always been this peacekeeper in the group. Somehow he does remind me a bit of Libra. We had been talking about this energy. Trying to sometimes like not think about what he wants, think about more about what the group wants. So he's also, I think that he's also dealing with his own identity. With what does it feel to be this peacekeeper? What is it in it for you? Like, what are you trying to prevent from happening? Jugyo, Jugyom, Jugyom, Jugyom. I think that he also has to face a lot of things about himself, and I think that probably this will be a good opportunity for him. There's a lot of growth in him because I think that he had always been trying to behave, probably I know that you're like, oh, he's the magnet, he always does what he wants. No, there's a lot of maturity in him. I think that he also always tried to do the right thing for the group. So I think he has to think about himself, and this is like a very personal task for him, to find out, okay, who am I outside the group, like beyond the group, about being this peacekeeper, what is my role in my life, do I want to keep being this peacekeeper, or I want to embark in a new role. He has a lot of questions about himself and about what he wants to do. I don't know what image he gives to others in the industry, but he seems like he is very trustworthy and very like the reliable person, and always like this peacekeeper, that he somehow is very pleasant to deal with. But there's a bit of a rebel inside of him that I think that probably he wants to go into that. He wants to be yes, 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 because the message is let go of the need to be right. So I think that he does have this sort of like, he wants to be like a brat. He wants to be wilder, You know, he wants to be like, okay, like I don't have to. Yes, yes. I think that that's that's very important, you know, for his development. So it's very important actually. So let's move on to Chanmin. He's a moon in Gemini? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't remember actually. I have to read for him more often. But he seems so sweet, you know. That's why maybe he got the peacekeeper, you know, because he seems very like. Of course, that with the members and them knowing him, um, he can be sweet, but there's another layer to him. He wants to be. Chanmin, let's move on to Chanmin. TVSQ Chanmin. Shield maidens, make plans and focus. Shield maiden. Yes, I think that about Chanmin talking about Pisces, talking about the moon in Pisces of Chanmin. I think that he definitely needs to like. There's something about him having to defend himself, and I think that it probably should be more beneficial for him to show a bit more of character. You know, he needs to work a bit more um, on his determination. I think sometimes he's not very stable. I think that the one that is stable probably is Juno. You know, I think that he's like the one that just goes with the flow. And he definitely should, like, you know, get more combative, you know, a bit more like, a bit more assertive, you know, because he could potentially like get more individual opportunities if he wanted to. And I think he does want to. I think that somehow he's looking for a different challenge, or somehow he's a bit bored of what he wants to do or what he usually do. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you want new opportunities, you have to be a bit more assertive, because the industry, yes, you have a trajectory, but at the same time, it's very competitive. There's a lot of new faces, there's a lot of novelty around, so you do have to be a bit more aggressive if you want to get that opportunity. You know, here with the make plans and focus. And also it's about being organized, you know, like make the plans that you have to do and keep your focus. Like, don't get like too comfortable, you know, with being like, oh yes, I'm famous, or yes, I'm doing well. Yes, you're doing well, of course, but you do need to be a bit more assertive, you know. Like maybe he needs to have a few lessons of Juno about how to be a bit more dominant, you know, or a bit more like assertive, you know. Probably he is a bit, maybe a bit too relaxed, or probably he's like, you know, like too comfortable. So yes, I think that definitely, and probably this also has to do with defending his own points of view, and you know, the way he expresses himself, you know. Probably when he has these meetings with important people, you know, that he should be very clear about what he wants for himself, you know, because there's a lot of competitiveness. Okay, let's pull a card for 10. 10, the Spirit Fox. A Spirit Fox, trust your talents in changing times. Trust your talents in changing times. So it means that that times are changing. So definitely he should adapt with everything that he has available. Of course, that we know that this is very possible for 10 because he is full with a lot of mutable energy. He is a Pisces with the moon in Gemini. So definitely for him to be flexible and to adapt, his is the best strategy actually for him. Uh, and the spirit fox, it's very beautiful. If you see him over here, he reminds me a lot of 10. I think he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's pulling out resources and opportunities out of nowhere. He is this amazing. And of course that he knows that things are changing. He knows that times are changing. He knows that he has to be clever than the others, and this is not about competition. This is more about him making sure that he has the the visibility that he needs. You know, he knows that he has to be like this fox. He has to move, move. You have to move in order for the opportunities to find you, for the audience to be able to be surprised by everything that you have to offer. You know, you have to be clever, and you also have to be very, very intelligent when it comes about who you tell your secrets and who you tell your plans. Probably this also means that he's doing business, or he is like doing a lot of unexpected appearances or something that actually the company is like, oh, we didn't know that you had that thing going on. Oh yes, it just came out. Or it's an opportunity that just come out of nowhere. But actually he had been working on this for a while. You know, he's a shapeshifter. He's a shapeshifter. He definitely knows his value, and he's not going to wait, he's not going to wait around for someone to give him instructions. He's going to move. This is his power, to keep the energy flowing, to keep his energy flowing. Because if he has to wait for the people, the higher ups, to give him opportunities, he would be sleeping. They would be sleeping because they don't care. I'm sorry, I disconnected for a second, guys. I'm back. Yes, I love him also. Okay, the last one, because then we're going to go, is how is SM dealing with the Lucas situation? Let's see. Protection Guardian, drop your shields. Lucas is protected. But I don't think this is the same. I think this is the fun. This is the fans. This is not the same. But he is protected. Protection Guardian. Because here it says drop your shields. So it means that you don't have to use the shield. You are protected with love. And that at the same time, you don't need to protect yourself. That you don't need to hide anymore. Don't hide behind the shield. I don't think that the SM is doing something, honestly. I think that the magic that is happening is the fans doing. The fans and the people that love him. They are doing the real work. And he is protected. He probably has divine protection at the same time. But you have to trust the process. You have to trust that everything will be okay. He does have a guardian. He does have the protection he needs. So you need to be patient. everything is happening according to the plan. Like you need to be patient with the results. Because probably people do. That's why when I read for him, I was like, I was like, I don't trust companies, but I think that the reason why he is dealing with this in a very mature way is because they had a conversation with him and they let him know that this is how things are going to happen, or this is how they're going to proceed when it comes to hiatus. So the fans shouldn't get like precipitated in the sense of being like, oh, but why he's not here, or why he didn't come back, or why he didn't, or why we want to see him, we want to see him. Like, everything happens for a reason, and this is being taken care of. So this is being analyzed. Like this absence has a purpose, So be patient. Don't jump into conclusions. Be patient. Yes, because karma is coming. Karma is coming. Karma is coming. And she knows it. She knows it. Maybe she did mess up with the wrong with the wrong people. But this is what I'm saying. I think that it's the fans, not SM. I think that it's the fans. I think that it's the fans that are like, okay, we want to let you know that we have done this and this and this and this. They did the work. They did the groundwork. They move a few influences and they did it. They dig where they had to dig and they found something. But I think that SM just got all just collected the evidence and it's like, oh, okay. But I wouldn't attribute this to SM. But of course that they will eventually attribute this to themselves, like, oh yes, we took our time, because, but it's the fans. So yes, guys, I'm going to go right now because it's been 3 hours that we have been talking here. So, you should all go to sleep. You should go all rest. Thank you so much for being here, for always keeping me company in this weekly live. So yes, I will be back again on Sunday at 10 a.m. my time. So I hope to see you there, and I hope that you finish your week the best way possible and that you can rest and spend time with your loved ones. So yes, I will see you guys. Bye.